Thanks for checking out Chamber Web TV. This is Cambridge Votes 2014, where we have conversations with the candidates for the upcoming municipal election on October 27th. I'm Brian Butcher. I'm Vice President here at the Chamber, and it's my great pleasure right now to sit down with Suzanne Tebbutt, candidate in Ward 4. Suzanne, thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it. So things are underway. The slate is set.
Mm-hmm.
You're out there talking to people?
Yeah.
Maybe pounding in signs?
All right. They're not printed yet.
Okay.
Couple days.
Printing
Yep.
signs? Yeah.
Printing signs.
You have a lot of people running in your ward. You have 6 candidates running. So lots of competition, lots of fun, lots of people to talk to.
Yeah, I've only met one. Have to meet the others.
Yeah. Are you having a good? Well, more important, you meet all the voters.
Yeah.
Pretty sure the candidates will vote for themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine.
Are you having a good time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very good. Yeah, and I've got a
Interesting.
good team established and lots of help, lots of support. People emailing and calling out of the blue to help join the team.
That's great.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great process. Great process.
Yeah.
Suzanne, why are you running?
I've wanted to run for a long time, since I was a kid. Always knew I wanted to grow up to be mayor one day. Just one of those. Not that I want to be
Good
mayor
ambition.
now, right?
Not
yeah.
this time, but
no, for
everything
a
in
long,
its
long
time. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's always been there. And well, as you know, I teach post-secondary. So with my students, I teach politics, conflict management, philosophy, critical thinking, and I do politics and citizenship, good citizenship education in all of my classes. So I'm always telling my students, you got to get out there. It's not hard to volunteer. It's not hard to be part of your community and get involved and make a change. And they always come back and say, well, why aren't you running for office? Why aren't you doing anything? And
Yeah, you got to be careful what you
I know,
for,
right? So while I do a lot in the community and I join associations, I'm on a board. That's the push I keep getting from people. Why don't you take that a little bit further? You've got all the skills you need. You've got the passion, the heart for it. So that's why. I thought it was everything aligned, and it's my time.
Good. Time to put
Time
practical
to,
application to the book knowledge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Exactly.
What do you see, Suzanne, as the biggest single issue facing Cambridge, perhaps all the municipalities in Ontario?
That's a good question. What I see facing the majority of municipalities close to Toronto is pretty unique, I think, and that's the population seems to be booming for all these little towns, like, and I count Kitchener, Waterloo, the region, Barrie, every little municipality. The population is booming, and I think we were all intended to be smaller towns. So now we have the small town feel, but we're supposed to be growing. So the issue I would see is small town infrastructure with bigger town people. So bigger town populations coming into these smaller towns. So the problem would be infrastructure. So we have weak or lacking infrastructure in terms of pipes and roadways, and we want to put a lot more people into smaller spaces.
Yeah,
so that would be the biggest problem.
You can't stress the system too much.
No, and it's already stressed. I would say in Cambridge it's getting there. Yeah.
It's easy to forget about the pipes under the road until the water doesn't flow or the toilet doesn't flush.
Yeah.
We remember
and I live in
fast.
a 100-year-old house, and the house I lived in before was 100 years old, and both times we had water main problems and this and that happened. Yeah.
Well, you've been talking to the voters in Ward 4. What's the biggest issue in Ward 4?
I'm gonna keep coming back to infrastructure probably the whole time, but the underlying infrastructure and the one that close to my heart would be the traffic issue. So everyone, they don't like moving through the city. That's the crux is, going down this street it's a mess, and going downtown it's a mess, and it's too busy and can't get around. So that's, I would say, infrastructure across the board, the city and Ward 4. Yeah.
Good. The Chamber's always looking for candidates, politicians, anybody with big, bold ideas.
Big, bold ideas.
And I'm wondering if you have any big, bold ideas that you'd like to put forward.
Yeah, mine would be, and in my community I'm part of kind of a traffic committee that's been really looking into the traffic issues in the city. So my interest in traffic and infrastructure started in our small neighborhood, and my vision's kind of expanded across the whole entire city. So now I've got this map and plan in mind for what to do, but I'm big on going back to that 1981 model of having the ring road, so the bypass, having another bridge. So I'm really, really big on.
Only 1981. It's only
1981.
been that long.
Well, when they designed new communities to come into to Cambridge, there was the ring road plan,
Yes,
right?
I
The
remember
bypass,
well.
right. So then it got kiboshed, and now we still have all these plans for the new subdivisions without a way to get the traffic moving through the city. So I'm very big on, well, we call it a bypass road. So right now there's talk of, some of the candidates talking about the southeast bypass. So I would definitely be in support of the southeast, and then eventually get my own, phase 4 and 5 to get it to go up to the west too, just to get the whole city connected.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of moving people,
Mm-hmm.
the LRT, I want to talk about the LRT
Sure.
a bit. I don't know if you're aware, but the Cambridge Chamber was against
Mm-hmm.
the LRT, not in favor of it, mostly not in favor of Cambridge residents paying for the LRT and not seeing the trains for decades. However, that battle is lost, and the LRT is on its way, and it's time to move forward and look ahead. We're thinking that perhaps there's some opportunity with some different kind of thinking to accelerate the process for Cambridge and bring the trains to Cambridge, or maybe there's other solutions to improve transit under the LRT umbrella, and I'm wondering what your thoughts are.
I would have been with you if I had a chance to vote way back in the day. I would have probably voted against. But now that it's here, I see that there is the possibility to modernize the region eventually. And when you look at the numbers, you see the ridership's not here right now. But I'm a big fan of long-term planning, not Band-Aid solutions. So I really think that we should look into the future long-term and plan for it to come. I think we'll have the ridership eventually. Like, we're connected to it's a great region. We're gonna grow. They say we're gonna grow by 40% even, right? So we're gonna have the ridership eventually, not 10 years, maybe 20 or 30 years, maybe even 40. I don't know. But I think that what would be wise is just secure funding now. So like you were saying, like, we got to do something like maybe get a lobby group getting over to the provincial government, and there's been talks of that, and getting the money for it, the plans for it, and start planning now. And then even taking that further, not only having the money, but planning the infrastructure now. So where's the path going to go, so that if we're doing road work in the future, a water main breaks, we've ripped up the road, right? In repairing the road, we could place, kind of place that track or whatever you place in its
At
place.
least prepare for it.
Get it ready, yeah. So prep. So I'm really big on long-term preparation and planning for long way down the road. Yeah.
Well, speaking of a long way down the road and long-term planning, Cambridge has been fighting the battle for Via Rail for a long term, or GO Train, pardon me, and Kitchener has GO Train service, one train out in the morning, one back at night, but they have been promised by the Premier that they will have two-way all-day GO in the near future, whatever near might be. The Cambridge route through Milton is a shorter route.
It is.
It's a less expensive route to build up for GO, and yet we are still fighting the battle for GO. Do you think we should have GO to Cambridge, and what do you think our hopes are?
Big supporter, and I've got big hopes. So like at 100%. So I'm sure we're gonna get it. We just have to lobby the correct way and pool all of our resources and get a good team together and do the lobbying. And I think it's there. There's been a lot of mention of the support for the GO Train to Cambridge. So I think we just need to stand our ground and push hard.
So you're GO for GO.
I'm GO for GO. Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Suzanne, where do you see Cambridge in 25 years?
25 years. Well, I'm a long-term planner, as you can see.
Well, you see, when you get to the older you get, the shorter term planner you become. But 25 years anyway.
Yeah. So in 25 years, I would like to see sustainable infrastructure, sustainable growth. So not only just infrastructure, but economy, jobs, sense of community. The one thing I would like to see is, right now I feel, and it's kind of an emotional thing, but I see that there's a lot of disconnection between the three parts of Cambridge and a lot of polarizing talk, and it feels like there's us and them, and like I'm from Galt, but then there's people from Preston and Hesperle. I'd like to see more of a sense of community. So it's just Cambridge, right, and not all of this polarizing.
It's funny, when we're talking in Cambridge, it's Galt, Preston, Hesperle. When we're talking about us in the region, it's Cambridge.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I'm talking about like a 25 year plan, and I don't, that's a hard one to tackle, but that's just that would be like more of an emotional, social goal, right? To try to foster unity and have a good sense of pride and belonging in the city.
Well, we live every day of our lives based on emotion as well.
We do.
Facts don't always matter.
50% of us, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
As you know, this time, for the very first time, Cambridge will offer online and telephone voting as an option. And we were the only municipality in the region to be doing that, although it has been done in other municipalities in the past with great success.
Yeah.
We think that it has the potential to change the demographics of voters considerably, and certainly to increase the voter participation rate.
Yeah.
When you can vote in your pajamas at 2 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
there are fewer excuses to not vote.
Yeah.
I hope that it also changes the conversation level, and that particularly the younger people that are comfortable pulling out their phone and talking and maybe voting online, that perhaps there'll be more conversation and we'll have knowledgeable voters going to the poll. How do you feel about the online and telephone voting?
Extremely happy. Like, you know, as you know, I teach that demographic, 18 to 24, is who I deal with on a daily basis. So when I taught, say this past summer, I taught politics, and we went through that provincial election, and there was no I was going to say banking, like online voting. They were quite perturbed, and I got into the questions and talking to them about why aren't we voting? Why aren't you guys voting? What's going on? And they said, well, some people have online, and we would vote definitely if it was online. And well, a good chunk of the class went out and actually voted. A big chunk didn't, and it wasn't that they didn't know the issues. We'd just gone through everything in class, so it wasn't that. It was I don't know what it was, the lazy factor or the just having to get out to the poll. Personally, I love going out to the poll. I could online vote. I know how to do it, but I'd rather walk into a polling station. But that's maybe my demographic, right? It's just, do you feel that sense of patriotism doing that? At any rate, yeah, so they said if it were online, why can't it be online? We're a modern technological society, so why not? So I'm really, really thrilled that we're having it here, and I'm hoping to see that demographic come out and vote. And
me too.
Yeah, definitely.
It is 2014.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Before we wrap up, Suzanne, would you like to say a few words to the voters in Ward 4?
Sure. Yeah. I would hope that you could lend me your support, and I'll be a great counselor. I'll be committed, dedicated. I like to think I'm smart and a good listener. I'm approachable, and thank you.
And I'd like to thank you again for tuning in to Chamber Web TV, and I'd like to encourage you to make sure you get out and vote on October 27th in the polls, the traditional way with a piece of paper. But if you'd like this year, you can vote online or by telephone anytime, 24 hours a day, between October 11th and October 25th. Most important, take advantage of your democratic right and cast your ballot. Suzanne, thank you very much for being here today. It was great to meet you, and I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.
Thanks.